You can see this is a hell of a fight going on here, right? The Fed day was that green hammer, that low. You see, yesterday they brought the market out right down against that low. Today, actually, who can tell me what would we call this two-bar pattern here? And is this two-bar pattern inherently bullish or bearish? That's interesting conversation. This bar and that bar. These two bars. No, it's not engulfing. It's not the word I'm looking for. Inside bar, that's right. In the past, I would have called this a bull rammy because from what I understand, the literal translation of harami is pregnant woman with child in belly. Literally, that's what harami means in Japanese. And for the longest time, I would say, and this is just my personal trading experience, if all of the price action of this candle here, this second candle, was inside the body of this big red candle, including the wicks and tails, I would call that harami. Oh, geez, can't do it. Anyway, you can see the bottom of this tail. I'm going to have to make this candle like twice the size of normal because that's the only way you can draw it. All right. So, if this entire candle was above the low of this candle body low right here, I would call that harami. Simply because baby is completely inside mummy's body. Somebody pointed out last term that the candlesticks write up, according to Mr. Neeson, the Japanese don't really consider the tails, what they call shadows, that relevant. And so, as long as the body of this candle is inside this body, then they would call that harami. And I used to tell people, be careful about calling this harami because baby's feet are outside of mummy's body. I would say, be careful about calling this harami because you don't want the Japanese, samurais to jump out of the closet and chop your head off. They're sticklers about sort of defining things correctly, which is ironic because in essence, that was an incorrect interpretation of Japanese candlestick theory. My bad. I still believe that a inside bar, this bar, technically the price action, is all inside of this bar. I would call this a very, very important candle. And this could very easily mark the bottom of a market, pivot low, and we turn back up to the upside. This is what's called an inside bar. Perfectly legit. Nothing changes about that. In this particular case, the Japanese themselves will consider, if this candle finishes like this, we have no idea what the end of the day is going to look like. But if it does finish like this, the Japanese are still okay with calling this harami. If anything, I like the idea that TRIs, we just stick with exactly what I'm teaching you guys. Because if this candle was entirely inside this body and you got the bullish reversal, extremely powerful signal. This candle, if we get the inside bar, it's a powerful signal. And yes, the Japanese will still call it harami, but I don't think it's as powerful as if this entire range was within mummy's body. Because this is an inside bar, it basically sets up two levels for us for trade location. And actually, we don't need Tom DeMark on there. But if anything, seeing that 8 on the Tom DeMark should tell you that's another anecdotal piece of evidence that, with this down move's getting awfully old. Should you really be thinking about a lot more to the downside? I don't think so. A little bit more to the downside? Sure. I mean, keep in mind, this is a Wyckoff check level. You can see we have a Foggenbaum that's pretty much a little bit lower than where we are. Could we have that one more FU move through this weekend here just to wash out those weak hands and do the Wyckoff check of the old historic breakout high? It's not unrealistic. What I would say, though, is this sets up a really simple scenario for you, where I like to call this the bull-bear battle lines. So the market, with this inside bar, has made it really easy on us all. If we see the market breach either this inside bar, and this is assuming that we finish like this, beep, is the end of the day. We're now on to a new candle here. And, unfortunately, I have to do a double wide so I can get the line. If we actually trade, let's say scenario number 1, beep, we open up, we move higher, and we trade through that inside bar's high, that's a buy signal. This inside bar signal fired. If, however, we open up and we trade down through the low of the big bar, mummy bar low, that's a sell signal. Basically, this becomes now an AB CD. All right, so our target is down here. Boom, 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 boom. As well as any other targets and stuff like that. Keep in mind, like we got this bearish bought objective down here. There are other Wyckoff levels that need tagging. There's bigger ABCD. So, this is just the target off of the 2 bars, but it's a good illustration of this bull-bear battle line concept that sets up off of inside bars. If baby's feet are outside of mummy's yaya, then I think that this signal is a little bit lessened. If everything's inside mummy's body, then I think it's actually an actual pregnant woman scenario. But just for the record, just make sure that in classic Japanese candlestick interpretation, as long as this body is inside this body, they will call it harami. Then secondly, we can look at any inside bar price action and basically call this a bull-bear battle line, where you're going to get a very clear message. If we go up through the top of baby's head here, that's a buy signal, inside bar reversal. If we go through mummy's low, that's a continuation pattern and a sell signal.